What some people won't do for a story. Riding on a motorcycle with Rocky or Rambo, alias Sylvester Stallone. At this point in time, they're all one. Up the Beverly Hills to the house at the top, where Sylvester Stallone now rents. Yes, rents, not owns. Because since the breakup of his 18-month marriage to Brigitte Nielsen, part Danish, part Amazon, Stallone wants no possessions, nothing to remind him of her. Well, there is his collection of daggers.
I've been collecting knives for about 15 years. This is from Persia. This knife was used as the final punishment. This is the bottom line. If you were guilty of murder or if you're guilty of theft, they would use this to cut the throat.
Oh.
Yeah. Today I use it to open letters, which is kind of cutting my own throat usually when I...
And on the gentler, more sensitive side, there are his magnificent paintings. The Chagall, the Monet. His taste runs from the surreal Salvador Dali to Leroy Neiman's painting of Stallone as Rocky.
I think he really has a feel for the character, and his style, I think, is very exciting and vigorous, very theatrical, and it's one of my favorite pieces.
You think it's you?
Yeah, I think he captures it real well. Matter of fact, I wish I was as noble as his painting. This is very good.
Noble indeed. These are the films. Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rocky was always known for his left-right combination. So he didn't stop there. There was Rambo 1, 2, and now Rambo 3. Rambo fighting in the desert of Afghanistan against the evil Russians. All the bravery, action, determination, and yes, violence that have evoked pride and provided escapism for millions of people all over the world. There have been other Stallone films, but these are the winners. For Stallone himself writes them, and in his scripts, the underdog always wins. And what has Stallone won? Movies that have earned $1 billion and an estimated personal worth of $100 million. An office complex full of art masterpieces. No accidental purchases for Stallone. Unlike his on-camera image, he is a lover of museums and art. Even when he didn't have a dime, he took solace looking at the pictures in museums. He himself paints dark and brooding pictures. He says he works out his fantasies, anger and hurt. Hurt, plenty. Pain from a childhood in which his mother barely kept him from reform school, and his teachers voted him the man most likely to end up in the electric chair, and they weren't kidding. But like Rocky, the movie he wrote, he overcame all odds, and the rest, as they say, is you know what. Along the way, his first marriage to Sasha fell apart. From that marriage, 2 sons, Sage, 12 years old, the pride of his life, another younger boy who is autistic, more pain. And then that marriage, number 2. The 6-foot perfect body Brigitte and the breakup a year ago. Rumors of other men or other women in her life. And Brigitte now pregnant with the child of football star Mark Gastineau. And Stallone, supposedly nursing a broken heart with ex-debutante Cornelia Guest. More rumors of marriage. And recently, dates with Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White, whom he says is just a friend. His glamour girl dates, his controversial past, the years of Rockies and Rambos have given him the hard-to-shed image of a great body, but a limited mind. It just isn't so. When we talked earlier, I remember being very surprised that you were as smart as you were. Now, that's almost a put-down, but you were. Why don't people think this of you?
I think that my private life, in a way, counterbalances that. I think that the way I look physically counterbalances that. I just wonder how people can think that you can, you know, stay around as long and not have an IQ of above a turtle, you know. It's like...
And how you can write almost all the films that you're in. Now, speaking of that, the fact that Rocky and Rambo are the films with which you are the most associated,
right,
with which you have been so successful. Cobra has also been extremely successful. The other films haven't made it that much. Is this that you will always have to do Rocky and Rambo? The audience won't accept anything else?
I think in that genre, yes. I have to be realistic that the audience is very astute.
So does this mean that you spend the rest of your life, that's not bad, doing Rocky, Rambo 4, Rocky 5? Where are we now?
Rocky and the Return of the Crutches. Quick.
Rambo in his wheelchair, and on we go.
Give me this iron lung. I can take him. I don't know. I suppose that in a way, I have to be realistic. It is something that I find galling, because I would like to go out and play Puccini.
But it doesn't bother you as much anymore. I mean, you accept it. It's a...
No, I accept it. I accept it. It doesn't mean I enjoy it.
How did you feel when President Reagan invoked Rambo and said, after the TWA hostages, he said, I'll know what to do the next time. I'll be like Rambo, or something like that.
Well, I appreciated it, but I also realized that it made my life very difficult, that statement. Because right away, it took Rambo and threw him head first, skidding across the floor into the political arena. I said, whoa, what am I doing here? I did a fictional character, and now here he is addressing the nation as an example of Ramboism. So I think that it was a little unfair, but I understand why he did it.
Are you political? Would you ever like to run?
No. God, there's so many skeletons in my closet. You would die of calcium deposits if it ever... No. We're dying of bone. No, my God, it'd be an avalanche. You know, I couldn't be elected doorman at the White House, which says, forget it.
If Rocky and Rambo are part of you, and they're your fantasy life, what is your fantasy?
What is my fantasy?
Yeah.
I would like to be able to have a home life that is really beautiful. That is the whole storybook, white picket fence bit. I really would. I would like to go for that. I haven't really been successful at it. Maybe it's my own fault. I don't know.
You're such a smart man. I don't understand the choices you make. Do you?
I understood them at the time because at the time they seemed to have been right. But in looking back through the cracked mirror, you might say, it wasn't right. I thought I'm a pretty astute judge of character. I guess I'm not as smart as I think I am sometimes.
You know, there's been so much that's written. So much of it must have bothered you and embarrassed you. You're not a silly person.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. That really bothered me. Because I said, God, damn, it's one thing to have problems, and it's another to have it fought out in front of millions of people who pass judgment and don't know a damn thing about it and pour gasoline on already a flaming situation. That bothers me, and it's humiliating.
Why don't we try to set the record straight? Tell us as much as you can or as much as you feel like. What went wrong? I mean, we read these terrible stories.
When I met Brigitte, she was, without a doubt, the most endearing, funny, vivacious, sweet, caring person I had ever met in my life. I thought this was the one I had always been looking for all my life. And it was a miracle. She came at a time when I needed that. I wanted that. And well, I became, in Rocky IV, I remember I was punched in the heart by accident, and the sac around the heart began to bleed, and they rushed me to intensive care where I stayed for a couple weeks. And I mean, she would sleep on the floor of the room, send flowers, be at my side, and she was just perfect in every way. And that's why I married her. I just thought, I thought about futures. I said, you know, this is the woman I want to be around when I'm 80. And I was very happy. I'd never been happier. I don't think I'd ever been happier for those first few months. Then something went wrong.